The question I gotta ask is: has Me Too gone too far? Is this even related? Is this even related to Me Too, or is this just like something different? Is it just double standards that will always exist that we can never break? That's a better question.
We live?
We live.
We live. Welcome back to the Opinion Factory podcast, the podcast for free thinkers and challenge seekers.
Yes, sir.
I'm Khelil.
I'm Alex. And I don't know if you've been living under the rock, but there's been this news that's been kind of rubbing me the wrong way, right? So, Johnny Depp, right? Pirates of the Caribbean, Scissors Hands, all the great movies, one of the great actors. And then his wife or his ex-wife, I guess you call it, since again.
Better be his ex by now.
Amber Heard, she's been in a couple movies. She's currently in, I don't know what her character was in Aquaman.
She was in Aquaman, but that's the only thing I've seen her in.
The big news story I just want to talk about with this is that they're both claiming abuse by the other, right?
Right.
Amber saying Johnny hit her. Johnny saying Amber hit him, right? And the fallback of this has been, and I can't say anything's been proven or disproven substantially. There's a lot of stuff flying around.
Some things have been proven.
Some things disproven, right? But none of this is resolved. Right?
Right.
No criminal or civil hearing has been resolved. The only civil thing has been a libel case Johnny Depp had in UK, which we'll get into a little bit later. Only thing that's been resolved, nothing's been resolved. But yet this guy has to step down from Fantastic Beasts while Amber Heard still keeps her role. And that just doesn't make sense to me, I think there's just like such this quick thing to jump the gun with, I don't know how
this is like
proven guilty anymore.
Do you think this is like a regular instance of double standard, or this is like a special case where coming after Me Too, like men are being punished a little bit more heavily to be made an example of?
No, I think this is the same. I think something similar happened on Walking Dead too, where somebody, I'm pretty sure it happened on Walking Dead where some woman claimed abuse and then split the whole cast. And I'm gonna have to look that up, but I don't think it's a special case. I know there's many cases where the person remains in charge, but how are you gonna?
But wasn't the Walking Dead thing that was after the Me Too movement, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and he had to step away.
Like all those things are like consequences of that movement, or is it just like how this has always been?
Oh, it's definitely not how it's always been. But I just think it's funny that dudes just jumped the gun so much. What happened to innocent until proven guilty?
Right, because I feel like it's because of the Me Too movement. You can't wait around anymore, because if you do, then the court of public opinion may have already said Johnny Depp is a wife beater. The newspaper in UK already labeled him as such. Who knows who else did? And so if Warner Brothers is having this guy labeled as a wife beater, they're going to lose money for sure. And for some reason, it's just this guy that's the problem and not the woman, which is...
And you know what's funny now? They're going to lose money regardless, because all these people are pissed off that they fired this dude with nothing coming out yet. You know what I'm saying?
They definitely jumped the gun on the wrong side. I feel like they thought they were going to be on the positive side of things if they just like went out and bit the bullet and like went ahead of the news, but it backfired.
If Johnny Depp is a woman beater, I don't want to excuse woman beating at all, and we'll get into this conversation in a second. But there's this guilty until proven innocent thing that's going on. It's not just with the woman being too. Recently in the NFL, your favorite sports league,
right?
There was this. I forgot the name of it. It's going to bother me, but a cornerback from the New York Giants was arrested on armed robbery charges. Right? He gets released from his team, and then about a week or two ago, all charges dropped, and then the lawyer of the plaintiff of the case is facing extortion charges.
But he's not getting his job back.
I think he got picked up by another team, but look at that. He already lost like mad money over that. He was released for like 10 weeks. You're talking about NFL paychecks, probably at least $700,000, if not, $1 million. right?
See, now that case sounds familiar. That's happened a lot, for sure.
This whole guilty till proven innocent, this public trial type thing. I don't like punishing people until information's up, even if the allegations are extremely serious.
And in the case of, I don't want to stay on the Johnny Depp thing because it's bigger than that, but in the case of that, there's actually evidence out there for the public to consume. There's tapes. Like, she's on tape saying, "I didn't hit you, I punched you." Like,
yeah, which is
what are you talking about?
Funny to me, fam.
And then this man loses his job. And now there's a lot of people, to be fair, there's a lot of feminists who are actually on the side of Johnny Depp. Like, the real feminists, the one who care about equality instead of this whatever else these other ones care about. So I'm gonna give him that. But the fact that WB, I don't know what kind of pressure were they even feeling? Like, was there even pressure to fire Johnny Depp? Was anybody calling for that?
I mean, I don't think nobody wants to be associated with a woman beater, fan, but you can't, I just don't see why all the facts don't come out and be like, oh, we didn't know about this. Beaters. There was allegations made and we had to verify those. Now that they're verified, bang, case closed. We fired you, you move on. I don't see why that's such a bad thing.
I don't, because of just the optics of it. I mean,
but what are the optics, man? The optics are, if I'm with somebody, right? I hire somebody and they turn out to be a very bad person, I get rid of them. That's it. Right. Remember Aaron Hernandez, the Patriots?
Aaron Fernandez? Yeah.
No, Aaron Hernandez from the Patriots. The dude that killed somebody from the Patriots, right?
Then he killed himself, right?
Yeah, he killed himself in jail.
Yeah.
The Patriots found out that, he was facing murder charges, right? Not only facing murder charges, but connected to several other murders that happened before. And on top of that, he had a history. So in this case, having the history facing a murder charge and being tied to other murder charges, even before the trial comes out, I understand why you would release that person. Johnny Depp has no history of any of this nonsense. So, and then Amber Heard, I believe in her last relationship, was also accusing her partner of domestic abuse, which she could have been as well too. It could happen to anybody, right? You could be a victim of the same thing twice.
Right.
But especially considering the fact he has no history,
where he doesn't, right?
Where's this pressure to just, hey, we're good, we're clean?
I feel like
didn't these guys work with Weinstein or some shit? Like the same companies work with Weinstein, all these people, WB and all them. Like this is so hypocritical.
Well, I don't think it is though. I feel like this is consistent. I feel like this is an exception.
Weinstein was out there for a minute, bro. Nah.
I'm not talking about Weinstein. I'm talking about the Amber Heard, her keeping her job while Depp loses his. I'm saying this is consistent with how women and men are seen and treated in Western culture. And it's just an extension of that. If a man and a woman get into a physical altercation, no matter what happens, no matter what happened before or after, the man is wrong. If they get into a verbal argument, no matter what happened before or after, the man will be seen as wrong by women and probably by men too. And I think we mentioned this before. There's so many. There was a time I was actually looking into this on YouTube, like experiments, social experiments. They would have these actors pretend to be a couple, go out in public, get into an argument, and the woman would start beating on the man, like really like beating him up in public. And dudes is walking by laughing, pointing, recording, clowning him while he's being physically abused. And then he gets up, he said, "I've had enough," smacks her. He gets jumped.
He got jumped.
And I swear to God, like he gets jumped. Like they didn't tell the people that this was a prank. He would have gotten jumped by the same people who were just laughing at him getting beat up. And that's what's happening here. It's just an extension of that. Women, I think it's fair to say, enjoy privileges that men don't. Obviously, the opposite is true as well. Men have privileges that women don't. But when it comes to victim versus abuse or victims of abuse, when it comes to abuse in general, women have such an upper hand in every single aspect of it. Private, public, physical, verbal.
I wouldn't go that far. I feel like there's a lot of times where the allegations aren't heard at all. Right? I feel like that's where a lot of the Me Too stuff came from. Because
no, but I'm not talking about. Okay, sure. I'm not sure, but I think you go in rape cases that are not believed and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, or just being hit. I feel like for example, everyone says cops always beat their wives, but then usually that stuff skates under the rug.
Right. But I'm talking about cases where it's clear cut, where I see what you and everyone else sees
Okay,
was
so you're
happening.
talking about, so you're just talking about a situation where a woman hits a man.
Yes. Not allegations. I'm talking about situations where we know there's abuse, and
Okay.
we still we saw a man and a woman fighting like physically in the street.
Yeah.
Who would you go to protect first?
No, that is true. That is
And
true.
like
100%.
who would you like make sure like you alright, you good? Who would you
I
say
mean,
that
but
to first?
there's a thing that you can never hit a woman, and I'm not justifying hitting a woman at all. But
And
there is that saying that you can never hit a
that's an
woman.
extension of what I'm talking about. That if that's not a privilege when it comes to abuse, I don't know what is. And men don't have
Oh,
that.
no. I mean, it is kind of a privilege, but I
That's
don't know if
one
privilege is the right
100%
word for
privilege.
it.
That's not a right. To say that I should never be hit no matter what I do, that's not a privilege.
Yeah, I think that's when you say it like that, but it's just I don't know how to phrase this. Sir. I don't know how to phrase this. I do agree with you. I remember there was this on this, I believe, British talk show. I don't know if you've ever seen the clip where this guy's talking about how his girlfriend that he lived with abused him. Like he had to like pretty much jump out the window because he was so scared and like she kept hitting him all this type of stuff. And the audience
Damn.
started laughing. And then the host called him out. I was like, oh, if it was the other way around, none of you guys would be laughing right now. You all would be shocked with your
Facts.
hands in your head.
Facts.
There's definitely double standard between that, but the whole. All right, so I'm not a woman, but I just cannot ever get into the mindset of like, yo, you're sitting across from me, I'm punch you in the face, and you can't hit me back. That just doesn't resonate with me. I don't
And
get
you
it.
can't hit me back because you're naturally stronger than me.
It's just weird. Like, so I can go up to the Rock. I can go up to the Rock right now. The Rock is what,
Oh,
like 6'4", 270, 260. I can go up to the Rock right now and punch him in the face. Oh, you can't hit me back. You're bigger than me. You can't hit me back.
yep.
I
I think that's fair.
Damn, this don't make no sense, bro. That logic
It
don't
doesn't
make
make
no
any sense to
sense.
me. And I think, and this isn't to say I want to hit women. Obviously, anybody wants to defend themselves from anyone attacking them. But I think the notion that that comes from is just inherently sexist. And the fact that it's still being upheld to this day is just perpetuating that sexism.
I'm just a big believer in everybody keeping their hands to themselves. I do agree
Well,
with you
well,
that
of
it
course.
definitely is like a double standard to this whole situation.
And if you can't keep your hands to yourself, expect hands to be thrown back at you. Because
Yeah,
in
that
nature, that's
that
what happens. There's,
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I just don't know why people think they can put their hands on somebody else and not face any type of retaliation. Like the expectation, like the same thing. I just compare with The Rock because it's the same argument that's used. The person's
right.
bigger than you. You can't. They can't hit you back.
Right.
But it's like,
And my defense can't be, whoa, I'm just 5'7", bro. I'm like 175. What are you doing?
yeah, like that
You can't
doesn't
hit me
work
like a
out.
small guy like
And like The
that.
Rock, and because The Rock's bigger than me, he has to take that beating, or he has to walk away or try to hold me back.
He
You
has
know what
to
I'm
have
saying?
the emotional like maturity and fortitude to not only de-escalate the situation, but to remove yourself physically and emotionally from the situation immediately before
While
you
he just
react
got,
like a human being would do.
and keep in mind, he has to have all that while he just got hit.
Exactly.
You know, like
Like not
that.
even cops do that. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what they're trained to do. So I don't, and I feel like this whole that double standard extends to a lot of areas, and that's what we're seeing now with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. No matter
Yeah,
what Johnny Depp may have, could have, would have, should have done, he's already wrong. Like you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be seen with that guy, and like the shame, the humiliation, not only from like losing your career potentially over a lie, but like you damned if you do and you damned if you don't. If you get punched by a girl, like that example I told you, and you don't do anything, you're gonna get clowned. But then if you do something, you're gonna get jumped. So what what's going on? Why are we
it's
like this?
it's
Is
a
my
no-win
question.
situation. I feel like whether you feel if there's a patriarchy or not. I mean, I'll say there is, and there are some
No, there is.
manipulations that have fortunately benefited women that you know when most of them like there's some all the bad things they have to face. This could be like one of the benefits that came out of that. You know what I'm saying?
And I
If that
think
makes
this was
sense.
an unintended side effect that just
So
benefits women.
it definitely could be, but
Sexism, yeah.
I I just want to get into this thing of like there's another side to this thing I also want to face where there's like a shame of being hit. If you're like a woman and
Right.
you got hit and you don't want to talk about it. So if you're tying that to the Me Too movement, I understand why if somebody got hit, they don't want to say anything because like, how could you be that weak?
Like as a woman or as a man?
Yeah, as both, but as a woman, stay with me for as a woman right now. So if you're a woman
So
right
as
now,
a woman, if you get hit, you don't want to say anything?
yeah, because there's like I think there's a shame in it. You know, I think for men too, for sure. For men, it's even.
You think so?
Yeah, like there's definitely like if you talk to anybody who was a victim of domestic violence or anything like that, there's a shame in being hit. You know, there's like an embarrassment, or like there's just all these emotions that run through your head, where it's like I can't believe I allowed myself to get hit and not leave. Or I can't believe I allowed myself to be in this relationship for this long and not leave the other person. You know?
At first, I was kind of like maybe because I'm like, unfortunately, women getting hit in relationships is so common. I felt like they'll be more comfortable coming forward with it, but men would be more ashamed because it's like so like uncommon. It's like so like reverse of what's typical that they would feel more ashamed. But
there's still a long ways to go, you know. So especially for those people who have been hit, and then there's also the like it's really damaging. There's also that thing. It's like, oh, what did I make this person do that just like randomly hit me? Or did he get mad? So like, I shouldn't have gotten mad, or I shouldn't have got her mad. You know what I'm saying? So there is that shame and there's that guilt, and I understand why everyone wants to be as direct and hold people accountable. But we can't be holding people accountable with no information. That's the only thing I want to say. So with the Me Too movement, all this type of all these accusations coming out, I think there is a desire to hold people accountable. But I just don't like the idea of holding people accountable for all the information before there's any court resolution that's going to find whether or not someone did something. And court's not always 99% right. You know, that's the true thing. But if we don't have all the information, how are we holding people accountable without having all the information? That's what doesn't make sense.
You're holding them accountable to things that they probably haven't done.
Yeah, it's like hearsay doesn't fly in court, right? You can't say, "Oh, I heard somebody say this," and bring that to court. You know, that's not going to work. So I don't know how we do that with like people's lives that are accused of doing these type of things.
So if Johnny Depp would have came out and said that Amber Heard abused me, and it was just one-sided, right? Amber Heard didn't, counter argue. She didn't say, "No, you abused me." There was nothing. It was just that she said, "I'm going to defend myself." So Johnny Depp's accusing Amber Heard of abuse. She said, "I'm going to defend myself." Now there's a movie coming out that I want to see, and Amber Heard is in it. I know that she's being accused of something really horrible. Am I going to say, well, now because she's being accused, I'm not going to watch this movie?
That's how people think. That's how people think, though. But that is how people work. So it's like a double-edged sword for him. Like there's a bunch of people.
Never think that. Like,
there's a bunch of
obviously,
people
like
who will not.
Your example is fair with Aaron Hernandez. Like that's fair. Like, even before the court trial was ended and everything. But when it comes to things like this, when there's clearly nuance to it, and a lot of things left uncovered, left unsaid, why are we doing this? And this double standard, like, have you ever seen a man benefit from it? The only time that I remember, he didn't even benefit from it. Think of Adele's husband. They got divorced. He ran off with millions, right?
I don't know if there's a voice of smile.
I was like, "Yes, King, get that bag." And y'all got mad at me. Like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not right. But that was just to show you how people sound when, if it was the other way around, they'll be saying the same thing, and there'll be so much more support for that sentiment.
No, 100%. Don't get me wrong. The whole marriage thing, and you know how I feel about divorce.
Right, but I'm just trying to find out how this if this double standard benefits both sides periodically. If this is just 100% or just 95% weighed to one side unfairly.
All right, so I think before, right? Like I said, before Me Too, guys were getting away with stuff that they shouldn't have got away with, whether it's that workplace harassment, smacking coworkers on the ass, or catcalling, whatever it is. They got away with harassment and domestic violence, right? And even when the allegations would come out, they would be like, "Oh, that's not true," and they get whatever bullshit resolution and then carry on, right?
Yeah.
Like one particular that sticks out to me is Bill. Remember Bill O'Reilly?
Yeah.
We had like a $30 million lawsuit settlement off like some chick that claimed. like shit, like stuff like that. But this guy, like, that's not the type of accountability that you, even though you get money out of it, right? The accountability would be that
Right.
person goes to jail, they're held criminally.
You want him to not be able to do that to people no more.
Exactly.
That's the best outcome.
Versus a civil lawsuit where you might get money, but at the same time, you likely sign like a NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that said you can't talk about this anymore. You know, so now
you're gonna feel guilty to him continuing doing these things because you shut your mouth.
Yeah, he's free to do that again because you legally can't say anything. You have to forfeit the money and pay. Like, you know, there's just all these things, and that's not the type of accountability that we want, especially if we're centering on protecting women, right? So if we're centering on protecting women, not getting a bag out of it, you want them to be held criminally liable. You want everybody to know about this person doing this thing to you. But we can't be punishing people without everything being proven. That's the only thing I want. I just want some accountability after the fact. Like, after things come out, that's what I want. I can't have, like, oh, this trial, it's messy, it's ugly, only one person gets punished and the other one doesn't. I don't even think, like, especially since they have no history of it, I think both people should stay on their movies. Everything comes out, and then we figure out from there.
Either both stay on or both leave.
It's that simple. It's that simple. Like, I don't understand why the woman stays in the situation the guy doesn't. If they're both being accused of the same thing, you know, like that. So they're both being accused of the same thing, fam.
Right.
And one person gets to stay, and the other person doesn't. Doesn't make sense.
It's just a matter of like you said, it's just a matter of the timing now. It's like, yes, all these men before used to get away with all these horrible things, and they shouldn't have. Now we want to hold them accountable, but don't hold them accountable before, you know, we know exactly what happened. And it's just, this is like what we talked about with the whole body positivity thing. We go from one extreme to the next. So before, almost no one was being held accountable for what they did. And now people are being held accountable for things they didn't even do, probably. And now the abuser who's on tape admitting that she abused this man. Yes, I'm calling her an abuser. Not allegedly. Not allegedly.
Might be jumping the gun here, but continue, carry on.
On tape, this is on YouTube. Her voice, arguing with Johnny Depp. I punched you. I didn't hit you. I punched you. On tape saying this is now having the upper hand in this whole like public scenario, like with her career and everything. It's just, I know what it comes from. I see where it comes from. I know why I know like why it happens. Men, instinctively, we want to protect women. I think that's fine. But to make it extend this far and this extremely is detrimental to us. And I feel like to them as well, because they're going to eventually try the wrong guy. And it's not going to end well for them. You know what I mean? Or for the guy, but not for them either. It's not going to go like they wanted to. And so it's detrimental to both sides. So we just got to knock it off.
So wrap this up. I don't want to keep this too long, right? And I see what you're alluding to. So this had me questioning. The question I got to ask is: has Me Too gone too far? Is this even related? Is this even related to Me Too, or is this just like something different? Is it just double standards that will always exist that we can never break? That's a better question.
It was exacerbated by Me Too. I don't think I want to say can't say I think, but I'm wondering if this would have came out in like 2005, would Johnny Depp have already lost his job? I don't know. I want to say yes or no, but that's something because I don't know. You got to think about that. Have you ever seen that Bill Burr segment when he was like, you know, people really say seriously that you should never hit a woman, and how that's just complete bullshit. Like, what kind of arrogant, like, you know, hoity-toity person you got to be to say that I should never be hit? He said there's plenty of reasons to hit women, you just don't do it. But to say that there's never any reason, you know what I mean, just takes away the like I said before, the before, the during, the after. He used the Chris Brown example and everything, and I thought that was a pretty interesting outlook on it, because I think he's kind of right. When you just immediately say you should never do this, or the women's always like that, and then you end up having things like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, you don't get the whole situation, and shit that shouldn't be happening happens. So
all I'm saying is some chick try to stab me, bro, she's catching some hands. That's all I'm gonna say, bro.
No, you can't do that. You have to walk away.
So, anyways, the Penny Factory Podcast, find us on Apple, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, turn on your notifications, subscribe to the channel, helps the channel grow, leave a comment, answer the question. Be sure to share with your friends, family. We appreciate y'all's support. Gave it a little heavy topic before Thanksgiving, but, you know, it's important at times like these, especially when you get together with your family, everyone come together. Wishing y'all a very happy Thanksgiving. We will see y'all.